Hello and welcome. Today I have this shifter. It's the XT M737. This is the 3-speeded side. It has a bit of a problem as it's not shifting into third gear, and so I'm going to rebuild this shifter and add on some grease where needed. So let's begin. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that there's no more tension, so putting it back onto the first shift, and I'm going to now remove this bolt. Looks like a number 4. Alright, so I've got a bit of an issue. I think that there's another, this bolt is bolted onto another one on the interior, and they seem to be stuck, probably because of the thread locking material that's on the threads, and so when I'm turning this around it's just not undoing itself. It seems to be turning on the interior. So I'm trying to figure out now a way of possibly removing this part here. So I'm taking that off. I can see there's parts inside here that are broken, so that's not a very good sign. Let's try it. Ah, got it. Okay, I can see now the issue here. What's happened is, yeah, this is basically start to get damaged. Hopefully that's not going to be a big deal. I think what's happening here is that when I'm screwing that, this is probably turning. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. This is turning. So there's so little to work on because the this bolt is really thin. I found a clamp that I'm able to put in an angle that clips onto it, and hopefully this is going to now work. I've got to use another plier to hold this plier to be able to get some leverage on this this bolt. I can feel it turning. Okay, I've managed to free it up, so you'll be able to ignore this part of the video unless yours is in this condition as well. You'll just be needing to undo this as normal. Oh my god, it's done. Okay, well here's the issue. It does look indeed like it's started to corrode. So we're going to take off that cover. As usual, we're going to remove this bolt clockwise. Okay, so that's off. We're going to remove this plate that's holding the spring underneath. So the spring, I would have imagined, probably hooked onto this part. So underneath that there seems to be a form of bushing, so take that off. Take off the lever with its pull. Okay, so here there's a circlip, we're going to remove that. Okay, so taking it off. I can use a knife to try and unclip this part. Okay, managed to get it off on that. So underneath here there's another bushing. When I take off this cover, this was probably screwed on from before, but because I couldn't do that same procedure, you'll just have to figure that out. So I'm taking off that spring on a pull. It's very gunky and disgusting. Okay, so now I'm lifting up that pull. I'm going to take the other one off. Be able to lift this up, and no doubt there's a spring. Yeah, there's the spring underneath. Okay, so this part here seems to be kind of like stuck on and integrated into here. I'm going to leave that on now because if that needs to be in a certain position, I don't want to mess around with it too much. So very messy start. It definitely there's definitely a problem with the well, just the grease. It's very dirty. And now I'm going to move on to rebuilding the shifter once I figured out how to do it. So this pull here is so stiff and stuck, you can barely move it, so not surprising. I'd say this is the serious cause of the shifting issue. Let's remove that tiny clip that's underneath. Be careful with your hands if you're going to use a knife. Okay, got it off. It's just stuck as well. Okay, got it off. Okay, let's put this back on. I've put some new grease now on the top. So let's put this back on top. The spring is going to go first, latch that underneath at the bottom, and then we're going to put the pull back on and put that clip on. Okay, so I'm just going to take off this part here because this also needs to be clean, and there's like an interior bushing that sits onto the top. Okay, so I've put some grease on that part there after cleaning, so I'm going to put this washer back on top that sits on top there, and then you want to put number 5, I believe, like this, nylon sprocket. So you'll see that spring that was underneath it before, there's a tip there, and what you want to do is put that into the slot that's located here, and we're going to take this bottom part that has that pivot, and I believe that the other tip of that spring that sticks out is going to go into that small hole here, so we're going to aim for that. Okay, so that looks like it's correctly in place. I'm going to put that one on the top, and the next part, the tiny little spring that was going to pull, I believe the longer part overlapping on this side. So I'm going to follow the order of how I took it off, and you can put this part kind of back on the brake lever unit, and there's only one way really to put this, it's very obvious. Plastic cover that sits on the top here, and then the lever you want to put it in this way. It's kind of like sitting on the top, so for now I'm going to put it like that this tiny little washer and push down. I'm going to put this back in to give it a bit more stability when we're moving this. Now for the spring, so the hook part goes onto that part that sticks out here, holding one of the pulls, and then the other part of the spring goes over right here at the end. I'm going to try and do that now on the video. Instead of trying to put this around here, maybe I should try it the other way around. Okay, got it on. Okay, now that we've got that off, I'm actually just going to lift this up because it's not very important that it's in there for now. You put this plate with that part going downwards, and it's very obvious that there's 2 holes and it's going to go into this position. So kind of push down, put a clip right in here. Right, so we're going to push that little clip down. You need to get the tip of that spring, and you need to bring it towards right here. Okay, I've got it. And that essentially is for this part here to flicker up and down. Before I put this back on the body, this part here needs to be put into the first gear, and this pull is going to sit right here. So we're going to go ahead and fit that in, and next is the bushing that sits on the top, and it's going to integrate itself inside the lever arm, so push down. And now we're going to put the spring here on the top for the lever. So you'll see here that there's that tip, and there's another one on the exterior. The exterior one's going to latch onto that part here, and that other tip there is going to go into one of these holes on this plate. This plate seems to sit down like this, so I'm going to push this down, and what I think is the easiest thing to do here is to put the screw this down anti-clockwise. Okay, finally got it on. And then now we're going to bring that towards the part that we want. Okay, so I've got it over, push that down. So we're going to tighten up this nut. So that's now down. So I have some very good news. Put on all the little screws back on, and we're going to find out if this is still in workable condition. So I'm going to do a bit of a full part on here. I'm going to put a tiny bit of super glue around here where it's been damaged. I think that should actually do it, because it's not really something that ever needs to be taken out. Okay, so that's now back in. We're going to put the cover on. Now we're going to put that bolt. I have put a little bit of grease on this bolt because I really don't want that to happen again, what happened. So now I'm going to screw that down, and I'm pretty sure that's going to stay in place. Now that's never going to be an issue ever again. Okay, now we're going to put the screen back on. You can see on the interior right here there's a hole in that nylon part that's inside, and that's obviously going to be for this part here to poke in, and eventually moving the speed dial. And then here you've got another part that needs to also go in at the same time, and you want to put that through beforehand. Okay, so I've managed to get that tiny little part on the back of this through. It's like got a square shape, so you need to put it in the square. Right, so we're going to put that one back on. There's a screw right there to put back on as well, in a weird angle. I'm putting the 2 screws underneath the screen. And we're putting back the kind of stopper for this, for the brakes. Okay, so complete, back into working condition. This could have gone easily in the bin. Thank you for listening. Until next time, peace out.